All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to yet another edition of HSM Talks. Today, I thought that I'll bring to you something really unique and something really different. You have been too used to listening to universities from across the globe, but far too long we have ignored Southeast Asia or South Asia. So, today we have somebody from Asia which will possibly ignite your imagination towards looking at Hong Kong as a destination. And before we start the show, let me just wait for a couple of more minutes for people to join in. I already see almost 120 of you already there. Let's wait till we hit our peak numbers. Way above 200 already. It's climbing slowly but steadily. We are live on 10 Facebook pages, 4 Facebook groups, and 1 YouTube channel. I have with me a very dear friend from one of the well-known university in Asian belt, and we will talk about a lot of stuff. We will talk about the courses that they have to offer. We'll talk about their admissions criteria. We'll talk about their fee structure. We'll talk about scholarships that they offer. We'll talk about everything that they have to offer. And let's see. My request to everybody who is listening to me right now, if you are listening to us on Facebook, please do allow StreamYard to access your name. Otherwise, it does not show it in my feed. I do have a mobile in front of me while because I'm traveling. I'm not in office right now. You're used to seeing me in office. So I do have mobile in front of me. I'll try and move around the screen and see who all is there live right now. Slowly inching towards 400. So 400 of you listening to us right now. This is super, super awesome. And I really thank you. Every time I come live at 10 o'clock in the night, you guys are there to support me. And I can't tell you how awesome it feels. Okay, so let's have my guests for tonight join us. Ladies and gentlemen, we will talk about Hong Kong as a destination. We will also talk about what are the courses that this particular university has to offer. I have with me on the screen Mr. Frank Chow, Senior Admissions Manager, Hong Kong Baptist University. Frank is the current Senior Admissions Manager at HKBU, overseeing international student recruitment and admissions. Before HKBU, Frank worked in several higher education institutions, NGOs, and government units with over 15 years of phenomenal experience in marketing, international relations, student recruitment for the education sector. Frank is also a strong advocate of creativity and innovations with diverse background. Having grown in Hong Kong, Singapore, and Australia, he possibly knows it all. Welcome to the show, Frank. How are you doing?
Hi, Abhishek. Great to have me here. I think this is really a good platform for us to try to actually get the message across. I think Hong Kong has been off the radar a little bit, but yeah, we are on the radar now.
Yes, so Hong Kong has been off the radar a little bit, but it's too important a destination to ignore, right? So thank you so much for taking out time. It's been we've been trying to reach out to you and bring you here, and I know you are busy, and that's why you didn't have time to come here. But we are so glad to finally have you on our show. I really want to welcome all the comments which are coming in. Ayush Gautam, Anita Motwani, Sapna Purvesh Kotecha. Your comments have already started showing into my feed. My request to everybody who is listening to us, all 800 of you who are listening to us right now, 820, 23 to be exact, 24 to be exact right now. Everybody who is listening to us right now, please do allow Facebook to, access StreamYard. Otherwise, it does not show me in my feed. Okay, Frank, my first question.
Okay.
This might be tricky.
Okay.
Okay, and this might put you on the back foot, but at the expense of putting you on the back foot, I'm taking a chance. All of us here in India were very keen on Hong Kong as a destination earlier, at least in the pre-COVID era. All of a sudden, post-COVID, things have slightly taken a hit into our brains. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I have number of years back, I started recruiting students from India. I think the first time I've been to India was in 2000. That's like 15 years ago. And that was actually the first time when Hong Kong started to get students from India. But it was a slow journey because Hong Kong wasn't really on the radar. But in recent years, momentum is actually picking up until, of course, until this last year, which because of the COVID-19, people traveling is all affected. I think it's not only Hong Kong, but students going everywhere around the world is the same affected. I think we have so many peers around that in universities. So we know a lot of our peers in UK and US are all affected by the COVID. One thing about Hong Kong right now, I think there's actually two questions. To be completely honest and open down here, of the questions I received from parents, from counselors in the last 5 months, 6 months. It's all about two things. One, it's about the political situations in Hong Kong. Is it really safe right now? Because of the social protests in 2019. And then the second thing is really about COVID. To answer the second question first, I think the question you just asked about COVID-19, the situation in Hong Kong is actually very much under control right now. And we had to have classes on campus already. And students already come back to our campus. Last year was a really difficult year for, I think, for everybody. People actually got to some students from our cohort that comes in this year have to fly in a staggered manner, and some of them are still finding their way right now. I think they are landing in Hong Kong. Some are still quarantined. I know one Indian students who just contacted me, I think a couple of weeks back, still in quarantine in Hong Kong, one of the hotels. But we are getting back on track right now. The situation on the COVID-19 in Hong Kong, it's actually very much under control. We have less than 20 cases. I think just today, we have 12 cases in Hong Kong only. And we are going to start having vaccine on, I think, around next month. So it will be very soon that we are aiming to have the whole populations having vaccine. So in terms of school, in terms of starting schools, it's I would say it's actually pretty much underway. So that's
Right.
actually the second part.
Wow, wonderful. Frank, you are such a good friend, and I really thank you for coming in today and talking
Hmm.
to almost 1,000 of the parents and the students who are listening to you right now at 10 o'clock in the night in India. I can't tell you. I mean, I'm so glad, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, that every time I come online at 10 o'clock in the night, all of you are listening to me across various pages and across Facebook groups and across YouTube. It does not make me feel better uh, than the fact that you guys are there to support me every time. And I really thank Frank for taking out time at such a time in the night and ensuring that he's there to talk to me and answer the questions. Frank, coming to my next question, and this is very
Okay.
critical, and I want you to answer it heart to heart. This is no
Hmm.
webinar. This is no formal webinar, Frank. You are reaching into the mobiles of the moms and dads and the kids right now. It's late at night
Okay.
in India.
Yeah.
So it has to be really candid answer. When I look at HKBU, Hong Kong
Hmm.
Baptist University, I see an institution which is very high quality.
Hmm.
I see an institution which is very highly research oriented
Hmm.
and yet affordable to many.
Hmm.
Is that true or is that not true?
Okay, so to answer the questions, I think you have to first look at the situation of higher education in Hong Kong. I think this is actually one of the topics. I think not just for HKBU, but I would say this for my years of experience recruiting for universities in Hong Kong. I work for a couple of other universities as well. Hong Kong has been a relatively affordable although you always see that Hong Kong is such an expensive city. It's one of the
Come on.
most expensive
Ask
city
me,
in the
ask
world.
me. I was there, Frank, a couple of
Yeah.
years back, and I stayed at Novotel at Causeway Bay, right?
Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah.
my room ended before it started, Frank.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a small room, and it was so
Yes.
so expensive. So yes, it is an expensive city according to me. But
Yeah.
let's talk about education.
Mm.
Is it really expensive or is it affordable?
I would say, okay, if you compare, we usually do a quick comparisons. If you go on to a popular website, go on to QS to check around the prices of different universities worldwide. If we compare to US, of course, major city to major cities, if you could compare to, if you want to go to New York, if you want to go to London, in comparing the tuition fees alone, just tuition fees, Hong Kong is we are charging about 18,000 US dollar for 1 year. That is without any kind of scholarships. The actual cost of studying in Hong Kong is actually very high. We pay our professors super well. If you ask any professors around the world, they love coming to Hong Kong because the pay for professors in Hong Kong it's one of the highest in the world. So we are even higher than that. They are better paid than in the U.S. counterpart or the U.S. UK counterparts. But we are able to actually manage the tuition fees for international students at a relatively lower rate because Hong Kong government it's heavily subsidizing educations here. So the case of Hong Kong, I actually also always tell parents is very similar to Singapore. The reason why the Hong Kong universities want to recruit international students, it's not about making money. Our first and foremost, it's not about making money. In fact, we are spending money to get students from worldwide. So because that's actually I would say a strategy from a government perspective to actually get talents like the what we have actually seen so many of talents in India to actually come to Hong Kong to add value to our student population. And then also after you graduate, so we hope that the students will actually stay on in Hong Kong to work to actually contribute to the society. So that's actually the main reason why we are able to maintain good quality educations at a relatively affordable price. Not, I won't say it's very cheap because it's still some money. But then apart from tuition fee itself, we have so many scholarships. That's actually true. Just
So
for an
that brings
example,
me to a good question, Frank.
hmm,
What are the kind of scholarships that you have to offer?
okay, so we have a few tiers of scholarships. So this year, one scholarships is actually from the Hong Kong government. Hong Kong government have Belt and Road scholarships because of the China initiative. That's actually if you are nominated. We got. I think this year we are just nominating about 3 Indian students to the Belt and Road scholarships. If you get that scholarships, then your tuition fee for the full 4 years will be waived. So you just have to take care of your cost of living in Hong Kong. And then apart from that, we have a full scholarships. Basically, if you get a full scholarships to come to HKBU, you can get your full 4 years tuition fee plus your living cost in Hong Kong subsidized by the university. So we got, and then other than that, obviously we have other scholarships, but actually lesser extent. Some students will actually get half scholarships, which is the value of the full scholarships in 50%. So just a very quick number or reference ballpark. So last year, we are not a very big universities to start with. Hong Kong Baptist University, we are rather small and rather niche universities. I will explain a little bit more later on. But we have over 60% of our students, international students, on scholarships that came last year. So that signifies the chances of landing a scholarship
This
is
is
not low.
wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, what Frank is saying right now is 60% of their students at HKBU, Hong Kong Baptist University, are international students with scholarship. More often than not, don't we feel that we cannot afford an international education? But
Hmm,
because we lack awareness, we don't realize that there are enough universities around the world
hmm,
that can possibly make our dream of our child, or can make our dream of our child studying in an international location and learning the best of education. And HKBU happens to be one of those universities which has over 60% of its international students with scholarships. Thank you. This is wonderful, Frank. Coming to my next question, which derives from your previous answer, you said you are
hmm,
a small niche
hmm.
university. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so in Hong Kong, we are not a very big place. Hong Kong, if you just take a look on the map. We are just a dot as well. So we are a small city, but we have about in Hong Kong we have 8 government. Right now we have more, but those are the other government funded universities are targeting the locals. So we have 8 government-funded universities that target both local and international students, and we are one of them. And to be supported by the government, comparing to probably you have heard about names like Hong Kong U, Hong Kong University of Science and Technologies. Those are pretty famous in India as well. In comparing, for example, to Hong Kong U, we are our Hong Kong Baptist universities. We are only about 1/3 the size of Hong Kong U. So we take about in total about 10,000 students. It may still be a big university if it's actually in India, but 10,000, that's actually covering about 6,000 undergraduates, and then about 4,000, roughly 4,000 postgraduate, including research and top postgraduates. So in Hong Kong, we are considered not a very big. And international students, because Hong Kong government actually put a limit on the number of international students we can take. Because we cannot support a very big population. So it's about 10% of the undergraduate population. So you can imagine about 10% will be
So
international.
minimum 1,000 students would be 600 students would be international either which ways,
Yep.
because
So around that.
all right, super awesome. Okay,
Yep.
Frank, that brings me to my next question. When I research about HKBU, because I really like HKBU as an institution, especially now understanding that 60% of your students, international students, are on scholarships. You have Faculty of Arts, School of Business, School of Chinese Medicine, School of Communication, Faculty of Science, Faculty of Social Sciences, Academy of Visual Arts, double degree programs, if I remember it correctly, and
Yep.
some self-funded undergraduate programs. Is that correct, or am I missing out on anything?
You're spot on. You did your homework.
Yeah, okay. So I'm spot on. Now, so I understand Faculty of Arts, School of Business, School of Communication, School of Chinese Medicine. I understand them. I understand Faculty of Science. I definitely understand Faculty of Social Science, Academy of Visual Arts. I understand. What is this double degree program, Frank?
Okay, so I think it's also a phenomenon that a lot of Hong Kong universities are working on it. We have currently a few double degree programs that will enable students to actually enjoy 2 places. So for example, we have one with Simon Fraser. If you still want to go to Canada, but then you want to actually have another experience in Hong Kong, so we have this 2+2 program with Simon Fraser. So you can
Wow.
actually stay in Hong Kong 2 years, in Simon Fraser 2 years, to get the degree. At the end of 4 years, you get a degree from Simon Fraser's and also Hong Kong Baptist University. So that's actually one possibility. We have another one with University of Queensland in Australia. So it's also a 1+1. And then we have some more niche programs. One with if you are interested in going to France, then we are also working with Sciences Po. So Sciences Po is one of the best, yeah, and that's also a possibilities. And then we also have another one, Kominsky. If you really interested in business education, Kominsky in Poland, it's a very top business school. But then their fees are actually quite affordable. So you can also spend 2 years in Poland and then 2 years in Hong Kong to actually get 2 experience. So international overall, that part is actually a big thing about universities in Hong Kong. We are pushing all of our students. I would say if you are not on double degree program, even if you're just on simple undergraduate degree program, we push all of our students to go on exchange. So we also, or even fund them, we give them money to actually go on to other universities. We have about 350 partners worldwide. So you can choose any universities to have at least half a year experience worldwide. So that's actually a unique thing about, I would say quite a standout thing about any universities in Hong Kong, and definitely true for HKBU.
Wow. My last question to you, Frank, is what are those programs which are really in high demand at HKBU? Where do you see these international students really
Yeah.
applying? What is HKBU known for, Frank?
Okay, so I have to actually explain. In the past, if you go onto our website, the first thing you might see is we are we are putting ourselves, our positioning, I would say, we are actually aspire to be a liberal arts university. So of course, in if you talk about liberal arts universities 5 years ago in India, then probably not
Nobody
many
would know.
people, nobody know about it. But in recent years, I think it's actually catching on. But then, having said that, I still see a lot of applications from India going into our business school. For example, our business school is actually triple crown. So if you search about triple crown, that means you get three accreditations from worldwide, from Europe and from US. We are one of the school with a triple crown in Hong Kong. We still have a lot of students coming in for business school. This year we still have a lot of international students coming for the science program, because everybody wants to do computer science, want to do biomedical and things like that. Those are still the majority of the applications, but then we have other programs that we are so proud of, that is actually coming up. Like we are also very strong in things like film. We started a global acting program that started last year, and we got one Indian student that's in that program, and that program director, we actually got him from UK. He is one of the mentor of a lot of the actors in a lot of the rings, and so he's super popular in the field. That we have a film, we have a very strong film, we have animations, we have just now you said visual arts. Visual arts is also very unique. We have music. So all these programs, we hope to supplement. Even if you are coming to Hong Kong Baptist University for a business program, for example, we still you want students to have some experience and some courses in art related courses. Like you can also take music programs, you can take film programs, take animations, communications, and things like that to complement. So the combinations of choices within the universities is actually a lot. So those I think that is actually quite special in Hong Kong. Of course, if you do some research, Hong Kong's universities are very strong in business. I think most of the students, international students, come to Hong Kong for one simple reason: Hong Kong is one of the biggest business hub, and we are
Absolutely.
becoming a
Absolutely.
very big business hub for
You're
China.
one of the financial hubs for Asia. One of the
Yeah,
financial hubs for Asia after Singapore.
yeah. And because people actually come to do this study business for the sake that after they graduate they can work in all the banks. We have so many multinational banks in Hong Kong that are headquarters here, so you can probably go into be one of the bankers after that. We also have a lot of fintech startup that this few years, if you want to
True.
be in that, then it's pretty easy. The unemployment rate in Hong Kong is also very low. So most of our students, I would say 90+% of our students will actually get a job within 3 months. So getting a job in Hong Kong is not such a big problem. But well, we are also pushing other subjects like we do not have engineering. I think that's actually one of the biggest turnoff every time I go to a school in India. But we see a changing trend
It,
in India.
it won't be a turn off anymore, Frank. I am trying my level best. Today, we reach out to almost 3 million parents and students in India. And I
Hmm.
keep on telling everybody engineering is not the end of the game. Liberal education is the future. I just had a wonderful live, a couple of days back
Hmm.
with, a very senior counselor from one of the schools in India called Manthan International School, and the counselor is
Hmm.
Ramya. So I had a live with her and we talked about liberal education, and Ramya has written a very good article on liberal education. So I hope that people will realize that how important it is to have a liberal education and not just engineering. So yeah,
Definitely,
I see
definitely.
where you're coming from.
I totally agree because from my own experience, we everybody is talking about AI. Everybody is talking about engineering to build robots, but at the end of the day, what cannot be replaced by the computer is artistic and creativity.
Absolutely.
And after you create all the AI programs,
Human
naturally
emotion,
they will replace you most of the
human
jobs.
human emotions, psychology,
Yeah,
the creativity, the design, animation, multimedia, the language skills,
it's
the
true.
literature. This all cannot be copied by a computer. But this was wonderful, Frank. Thank you so very much for joining in tonight. For almost these 1,200 parents and students, I'm sure they would have loved listening about HKBU. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Frank Chow, senior admissions manager at Hong Kong Baptist University, a university that I really like for the simple fact that they're a small university. They focus on each and every student, and yet they maintain their international tie-ups. You definitely want to look at some dual degree programs that they have to offer, and they are positioning themselves as a good liberal education university which has a great B school and some of the best degrees available. Thank you, Frank. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Do you have any last minute comments, Frank?
Thank you, Abhishek. I think just now what you actually said, it's totally spot on. I think you did your research very well. One thing about our university is just now, I think the one very last point is I've repeatedly spoken that we are pretty small university, so we are focusing on giving every applications and every students the personal touch. So what I can personally promise is every single applications, we do not see you as a number applying, just one head count to applying to us. So we see each and every student as really a human and personality that apply to us, and then will communicate on that kind of terms. So if after the talks, there's any questions about it can be related to HKBU, it could be related to Hong Kong, feel free to get in contact with me, and then I can actually give some advice. Sometimes even parents will actually talk to me. I will give personal advice as well. And then there will be, I think, what we can really offer. It's really that personal touch, and then this is the DNA of HKBU. We are a caring university, and I think that's actually stands out.
Wow. Isn't it phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, when a senior admissions manager from one of the universities tells you that we are not you are not just a number to us, you are a human to us, and we would like to give you a personal touch, a human touch when we look at your application. I can't tell you, Frank, whether how much good I'm feeling knowing that every child is a human, and he or she is much more than just the marks. And I so hope that all the other universities in the world also listen to this statement that you have made. It's such a powerful statement. I really thank you for this. Thank you so much for joining in. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Frank Chow from Hong Kong Baptist University. Please go ahead and Google about Hong Kong Baptist University. If you want to reach out to HKBU, please put comments on our Facebook page, Facebook group, or Instagram handle, and we will guide you towards Frank Chow's email ID, and you can reach out to him. With
Sure.
that, I'll end the show today. Thank you so very much for joining in. It was yet another powerful edition of HSM Talks. Until next time, stay home, stay safe, wear your mask, follow distancing, and keep sanitizing your hands. Because as long as you are safe, you're keeping everybody around you safe, and that's how we'll save the world. Thank you so very much. Good night. God bless.
Thank you, everyone. See you.